Welcome, everybody. Riza, I counted for you. We're at number 15. I took out all the funny math and counted them all up. So public meeting number 15, November 3rd.
Excellent. Okay. Well, they said it wouldn't last. Meeting number 15. That's great. And one summit. Happy Friday, everybody. This is the Kwaai AI Lab public meeting. Glad to have you all joining. I see a bunch more people still joining. And invite your friends as well. But let's give you an opening update. Today we've got, we're going to review the Scale submissions. This is the AI Developer Conference. We've submitted a number of papers or proposals for presentation to Scale. I don't have an update report on our process to incorporate as a nonprofit. That's still in progress, and maybe next week we'll give you an update of where we are. We're nearing the, as we near the end of the year, we need to start thinking about are we taking a break over the various holiday periods? We've also transitioned in Q4 from the Q3. The emphasis was on growing the organization. We're well over 100 signed up members already, and if you haven't signed up, please do. We've transitioned in Q4. We've started off a number of work streams, and those are meetings that are held in a separate call, not on this public call. If you're interested in participating in that, again, you'd have to join. Once you join, you get membership to the Slack channel. You can create channels within Slack. You'll get a Slack account, and you'll be able to see the conversations and find your place in the organization. So thank you very much. I'm going to pass you back to Matt, unless Afshin, I don't know if you have any opening remarks.
No, I think you covered it. I mean, one thing I think we should eventually discuss too is forming more subgroups. I know some people who approached me, like Deep was interested. What can they do now while the developers are working? So I think there's a bunch of ideas that people can do. We can talk about maybe at the next meeting or something about different subgroups. We could branch out. People can start, brainstorm into that.
I'd urge everyone to have that conversation in the Slack channels. One-on-one conversations are not very scalable, and they're not actionable. Let's have them in the Slack channels. If you're a member, if you're signed up and you're a member, you can create a channel. You can invite people. You can set the discussion topic and be proactive about it. And that's the way that big volunteer movements get stuff done. So this isn't a hierarchical structure. We want it to be self-motivated, and we want it to be organic. And it's very different to your day job, where you have a hierarchical structure and you're typically told by your manager what to do. Ideas in a volunteer organization have to come from the grassroots, and it's the merit of the ideas that will be the basis upon which we judge what goes forward. Okay, I'm going to be less preachy. I'm going to pass back to the MC, back to Matt.
Yeah, just one more comment on that as well. Y'all maybe have got a calendar invitation yesterday for the Pi engineering meeting. This is a new weekly meeting that's formed up, led by Mike Rubin, led by Eunice, led by Colin Miller, Toby, and some of the other engineering leaders here at Kwaai. So if you're interested in getting fingers to the keyboard, that's a good one to join in on. Make sure that you've got that on your calendar. You can look at the calendar, consume the public calendar. You should all, if you're a member or an advisor to Kwaai, you should all have that calendar invitation. If you don't have that calendar invitation and you are not a Kwaai member. You might be an observer, but you're not on the list to get that invitation. So if you want to get involved, please do hit me up. We'll get you that invitation. We'll get your membership, status updated. And we're looking forward to seeing you on those Wednesday calls. Cool. With that, let's, so as Reese had mentioned, we had a productive week getting papers submitted to the Scale conference. It'd be great if folks can just spend a minute or so to introduce their topic, what they'll be speaking on, if any broader Kwaai assistance, support, otherwise can be organized around that. As we approach. Scale is not until, I should have had this up there, I think it's March of next year. So we do have some time to get these talks ready. And Riza, do you want to lead us off?
Sure. So my two topics, one is why we need the Linux of AI. I think I chose that topic to pander to the audience. So the audience they claim to be Linux developer conference, and so I think this is important. We're talking in the open AI or the open source AI track, and we've got 4 submissions. The subject or the content of the submission is largely our manifesto. That's what I submitted as the proposal, and what I intend to present is an updated version of the same talk I gave at DataCon LA and at the summit. We'll obviously have more update about the progress of the organization. This will be in March of next year, and so hopefully we'll have something to even show off at that point, maybe in the form of a prototype. And so the other submission is one called, it's on AI fundamentals, and it's how physics-inspired neural networks point the way to smarter, faster, greener models. This is a deeper dive into the talk that I gave a hint of at the summit. There is an emerging area of exploration into physics-inspired neural networks. So Google PINNS, P-I-N-N-S. One of the complaints that neural networks investigators or developers have is that we've got this mathematics, this matrix math of neural networks, but we don't understand why it works. But we accept it. We accept it. It seems to produce results. We don't understand why it works. And part of my thesis is that unless we understand what's actually the underpinnings of it, have some physical basis for the math operations that we're doing, we can't make any real progress. We're going to suffer with the bizarre behaviors of neural networks, especially as they get larger, and they're getting larger and larger. So to get to smarter, faster, and greener models, we need to get to the underpinnings of it. I gave a hint of that area of investigation. By March, there'll be a lot more to show for it. And I'm hoping also there'll be some computer simulations to show. Mike, I don't know, I saw Mike drop off. I don't know if Mike's back on the call. No, he's not. He dropped off.
Yeah, Mike's traveling this week and next, so he may not be able to pop in. Yeah, Mike's really reprising a good chunk of his personal AI talk from the summit, but going deeper, really talking about the AI persona and concepts of trust and AI assistance. So really interested in what Mike has to say in those respects.
Great.
You want to say? Sorry, go ahead, Riza.
Yeah, maybe Kai can give an update on his submission.
Yep.
Yeah, sure. So as you know, I'm very focused on the reasoning aspect of AI. And what you just said, Reza, about, understanding what's going on in the neural networks is essential. The other way to approach that is at the cognitive level, the logic level. What I mean by that is when you have a reasoning instead of neural networks, here it's a reasoning network. When human, we make a decision, we are able to explain it because we think through different concepts and how these concepts are connected to each other in a certain logic way. So reasoning network, by definition, by its own nature, is explainable because it's explicit. So my submission here is because and Linux of AI, it just pinpoint for this conference. But the other thing is they talk about open, right, open source, and I take it under the angle of how to be transparent, how to be understandable. And my talk will be about, how machine reasoning, in particular reasoning network, can bring that.
Great.
Thank you, Kai. Appreciate that.
Just sorry, guys, just one more thing. So the date for, remember last time I was talking about the AI Digital Biology Day. So now the day is confirmed. It's December 11th. It's a Monday. So I will get with you more precisely, Reza, to see, how we can organize that. And any people interested, please contact me. So it's going to be the whole day in San Diego.
You said December.
Again, sorry, December 11th.
11th.
It's a Monday. 11th. Yes, yes.
Great. Okay. Thanks.
Want to Abdul Rahman, I see your hand up there. I want to draw some attention just to the questions in the chat. Ashish, you had asked if we have any plans where we can talk about AI and HR and AI and content digital marketing. Just curious if you could expand on that question.
Sorry, can you repeat again, Matt?
Could you clarify your question? What are you asking about there in the chat? Plans for HR and content digital marketing?
Yeah, so I was trying to ask, like, do we have any talk where, we can address AI and content digital marketing, how we can improve SEO, or how we can come up with something from LLM, large language models for content, how we can leverage, not directly, but via APIs or something in our content models. How? So this was my question regarding it. Yeah. So do we have any session coming up or a webinar or so from Kwaai, so that we can address this thing or talk something where these issues are addressed? Regarding HR, I wanted to explore something in AI which can help me assess psychometric psychometric behavior of a person, and this was the intention of asking this question.
Okay, I understand the question. I don't think we've had any movement in that area, but you're welcome to join on Slack, create a Slack channel, and maybe start a discussion. I know there are some members of the Kwaai organization that are marketers, and maybe this is an area where you can start a conversation on it.
And thank you so much, Reza, for this answer. I think this will help. I'll definitely join or create a Slack channel.
Right.
Thank you so much.
And Deep, related, would you want to say a few words about your thoughts on that?
On this HR and marketing?
Just getting some of those Slack work groups created and organizing. You had made a comment there too.
Yeah. So Afshin and I talked about something similar yesterday. We had a really great conversation for an hour. We talked about many different things. So one of them was, bringing in people who are from diverse fields and addressing their areas of interest and other things. So in that context, we were saying, for example, Ashish, he brought up he wants to talk about HR, he wants to talk about digital content and marketing. We could have a topic-based Slack channel, and I am also interested in digital content and marketing, and I'd be happy to collaborate with him, talk to him, brainstorm, and then we can gather support, find engineers who would be willing to develop products. And I'm happy to do the market research, competitive research, determine user needs, things like that.
Great. Thank you, Deep. And,
Much
and
for that.
Eunice, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that the Arcus Nexus team submitted, I think, a couple of topics for the Scale 21.
Oh,
So just-
okay. I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah. Whether they will be accepted or not, that's another matter, but we did make the effort.
Excellent. Thank you, Eunice. Any other thoughts or questions, comments on Scale? Not sure, Abdul Rahman, if they will be streaming it online. I'm sure the talks will be made available afterwards, but not sure if they'll be streaming live. The SC in Scale stands for Southern California, so it's an in-person seminar. Any other thoughts, questions on Scale 21? All right.
Yeah.
Let's.
I wasn't sure in the Scale 21 Slack channel. I see Cyan posted there, but I'm not sure if that was a post that was intended for that channel. It was like deep in the weeds of the product management of for personal AI. So I'm not sure if that was a post in the wrong channel.
Oh, good call there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we have Cyan on the call. I put his name up there on the agenda here.
I saw him briefly.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, Cyan. Welcome. Just wanted to kind of transition here. We had a great call on Wednesday. Thank you for leading through that. Would love to just get some of your thoughts here as to where you think we're at, what you think we need as we're managing the first stages of the project.
Yeah, for sure. Last week I was trying to make a milestones roadmap, just without dates or anything, just the milestones. I have a draft right here. I would like to share that in any of the Slack channels for any feedback. But I think where we're at right now is on the spot where we have to define what is going to be the MVP and how are we going to build it? Like, which steps should we take, right? Otherwise, we will be like focusing on a lot of things that may not be important right now to start the project. So I think we should discuss about the milestones and getting to an agreement before creating all the user stories and epics in Jira. And after that, I see the presentation that the next steps are creating the user stories for the communication generator and the PyPod. And I totally agree. We can start defining that. However, I will need your help, guys, for that. You guys are the experts on AI. I shared a diagram about my understanding on how things should work with on the communications between Pi and Pod. I got some feedback there, so thank you guys. I appreciate it. I will refine that document. But yeah, I think once we define the milestones, we can start creating the user stories. But we need to get into an agreement, right?
Yeah. Okay, so we'll do the we'll have that conversation in the working session. But this is a great time, Cyan, for you to. This is the slot where you're just going to update the public on what our progress is without going into the sort of sausage making. So I think we're it's moving along well. We've got lots of eager developers chomping at the bit to move this forward, but we do need some product management rigor to get the to keep us well organized and harness all of our energies, and so we're pulling in the same direction. it was I think a useful meeting on Wednesday. There's a recording of it. Again, you need to be a member. You need to have signed up. You need to be on Slack, and then you can participate in the conversations during the week. But then there's also the weekly working session call. In addition to that, there's already a Git repository, and there's AWS instances lit up already. So I think that's a great move forward. Don't think we have.
I'd love to, Sean, you want to say a few words, what you just threw in the chat there?
Sure. It was just, we've been working with bots at reasonable scale, 30,000 to 10,000 users, or messages, 1,000 monthly actives. And we just have some accumulated wisdom of like things that go wrong when you try to build these things in practice. There's a very brief list of all of the stuff that we ran into and some links in there. I'll be recording this talk sometime in the next week. And can go over that at the dev side. This is a more technical thing of like, hey, here's everything we've learned about how to do table and synthetic data extraction and conversation summarization before you do vector DB queries. Like, there's just a lot of technical, hard-earned lessons there that might be useful to the team.
I think that'd be really useful, because that's exactly what we were talking about on the Wednesday call. And I think this is going to be super useful. Sean, were you able to make a submission to scale?
Yes. So that's the link that I shared earlier. That was submitted at 11 p.m. on the 1st.
Gosh, that's wonderful. Okay, so we're going to have a good body of submissions from this group. So I think that's going to be good momentum.
And I mentioned my membership in Kwaai along with the note. So thanks
so much for doing that. Okay. So Matt,
I
carry on.
So I submitted on November 2nd. I hope it's going. I don't know. So
I hope it's still good. I think you copied Jordan, who's one of the organizers, so he might usher that through. Kai. Okay. Matt, I saw an earlier version of this agenda, and it had our colleague from Google talking. Was that a different agenda? It was the Google perspective on AI.
Might be next week's agenda.
Oh, is that next week's? Okay.
Might be next week's agenda.
Sure.
We do it live.
One thing for next week, remember it's Veterans Day, so not as many people might show up.
I see.
You might want to consider changing it to Thursday. If people can, I don't know. It's up to you guys.
Okay. You've already got a speaker lined up, Matt?
It's possible. Eunice had made this introduction, and I'm not sure if that person is here. We've got almost 30 on the call.
Right. So I know, is it Ali Asanjani? I think, from Google, and I think he and I have had conversations. I think we had an early conversation when we were, even before we started the first set of public meetings. So that's very interesting. I'm very interested in us looking deeper into Vertex, which is their framework for refining your local data, or retuning or refining, but refining while keeping your local data private. I think that's an important component.
And Reza, that is exactly what he covered in the conference he gave at Qualcomm. So we'll be interested to hear it from him again.
Yes. Okay. I'm really excited about that. Okay. And there was actually you came up to a conference in LA. You recall that one in the center of town, and there was one of his colleagues there. And after the conference was over, he was talking about Vertex as well. So it was on my radar months ago. Yeah. Okay. And Sean's just posted that Gradient AI is another open source tool for fine tuning Llama as well.
It's like a Vertex alternative. And so if we
A
want
Vertex alternate, great. Okay, yeah, and that's right in the bullseye of what we're interested in. Okay. Back to you, Matt.
Well, I'll just kind of wrap this up. Appreciate that Cyan from Marcus Nexus kind of took us through that. Yeah, in the future, what we'll try to do is just get a general public update on these Friday calls from kind of architecture status meeting. Please get involved in the Pi architecture work group in Slack. Pi-architecture-WG. That's where this discussion is happening. It is not an invite all channel. Go ahead and get involved in that channel. Sean, I pulled you in. You got to be in there. Let's go. Have the conversation. Keep the conversation going asynchronously, and please make a note to join us on Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Great. Why don't we move to some member voices and introductions? See a lot of great familiar faces on the call today, and would love for some of the familiar ones to also share a bit more about how things are going and what you're working on. Anybody would like to introduce yourself if you haven't actually spoken before? Looks like we met Umberto last week. I feel like we've met most people here. That's wonderful. We'll have to all bring a new face next week so we can have more introductions. Sean's going to lead us off with a member voice here.
just one question. Anybody else going to the OpenAI Dev Day on Monday in San Francisco? I'll be there. I'd love to meet up with other Kwaai folks. It'd be awesome. And I can report back on all the new cool shit at the next meeting.
Yeah, I was thinking of going, even though my company headquarters are up in San Francisco, but it just didn't work out with the other commitments we've got. So I won't be up there. I was up there for the TED AI a couple of weeks ago. I didn't actually attend TED AI, but I attended some meetings in the evening for people that were in town. I'd love a report if you could give us a report next week on what went on there. That'd be really great.
Sylvain, nice to see your name on here. Would you like to say anything about some of the work that you're working on? Your name just popped up in front of me, so I'm putting you on the spot.
Okay. So yeah, last couple of weeks have been a little bit more involved with Kwaai, so I'm kind of happy about that. So Eunice and we collaborated on the onboarding process. So he started out with a great comprehensive document, and then he and I discussed it further, and then we have consolidated it. So it's ready for review today, and I'm not sure what Eunice's plan is for sharing it out. So that's one thing.
No, go ahead, please, Jeep. Go ahead and share. Yes, please.
Yeah. So should we just make it publicly shareable? Anyone with a link can view, and then just put it in one of the Slack channels? What is the next steps for that?
Yeah, create a Slack channel. If there isn't one, I think I don't see a convenient Slack channel. Matt, do you know? Otherwise, we'll create one. And it's really the CRM for Kwaai membership.
We have a private sort of Kwaai operations channel, kind of private sales ops type of stuff. But this should be more public, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Create a channel and put it there. Thanks.
Yeah, so Eunice had started with 3 different journeys for different personas, but we have for now focused on recruitment and onboarding. So we'll be sharing that. So that was one of the things. The other was my discussion with Afshin yesterday. We came up with lots of new ideas and a lot of different ways to get involved, and things like bringing up new ideas for people to brainstorm and think through. One of the really interesting ideas we had was something like anti-AI, which was inspired by an article shared by Donald Gill. Actually, he talked about these artists. The Artists Union is now coming up. They're embedding poison pills in their images that they publish online. So if anybody uses the data for training AI without their consent, the AI will get incorrectly trained. So For example, they could have all the cats poisoned to be appearing as dogs to AI. So eventually, if anybody uses that data and they say, give me an image of a cat, they will actually be getting images of dogs. So to me, it just seemed very interesting. People created viruses, and then there were antivirus softwares around, and this may be some anti-AI, pills around. So I'm pretty intrigued, and I think it would be great to have a channel where people can bring in these ideas, we can brainstorm, and we could consider providing such tools to the community, if we get enough interest.
Great. Okay.
Thank you, Deep.
Wacky.
Appreciate the update there. Sylvain, did you want to say a few words?
And Sylvain, I owe you some feedback on the possible speaking opportunity at NASA. I owe you a bio and such.
Yeah, that would be great if you could send it to me, because I don't know if the calendar gets filled very quickly. So have you scheduled enough for January, end of January? That's the earliest I could get. And so you could present for half an hour the concept that you guys are pushing here in this group, and why we need Linux for AI. I shared the link to the group, the link of the webpage here. So I don't know if anyone has gone to the webpage. You may be able to figure it out by simply looking at the IP of people. If you're tracking who goes on your website, you should be able to figure out if you had NASA folks visiting you or not.
Okay. I don't know if it'll give you any idea.
Yeah, you may want to look at this. It's pretty easy. The IP should be registered. .gov. So what else? Yeah, I think the last comment is interesting, actually. I've been pushing the concept at NASA for something that is struggling with. This concept is I'm really concerned about the creation of generative AI in the context of satellite images, for instance. So, there's a lot of global warming denier in this world, and I think it's just a matter of time before people start creating fake NASA satellite images that would dispute some of what we know. And it's just one example of scientific knowledge that could be distorted by generative AI. And so I brought that up at the council, and they said that they're aware of this danger, but I don't know if there's really a plan forward. I think the blockchain is one option we discussed, where we would basically have a way to track the authentication and the governance of any data that comes from NASA, so that anyone making any claim from data would have to prove the authenticity of the data, so that they're not being generated by an AI. So we'll see. I think this discussion is very difficult, and I haven't seen much movement, frankly. I feel like people are just trying to figure out what to do with all this stuff, but I really feel like this is something that we need to address. So I may have already brought that up last time when we spoke. I forgot.
Great. Thank you, Sylvain.
Okay, thank you, Sylvain. Would anybody else like to share today? Let's go to Diego. Hey, Diego.
Oh, hi, everyone. Sorry, I've been missing the past 2 meetings because I had 2 conferences. But last time I wrote in the Slack channel that I think would be great to start a group in which we can start studying these new technologies and their applications or their consequences for healthcare or for life sciences. So whatever topic that people are interested. I don't know exactly how we can start this. So just by writing in the Slack, or just I would like to know how many people are interested in working on this area, on this topic.
On life sciences, yes. Life sciences, I think there's a strong interest in that. I think Kwaai, I'm not sure if Kwai's still on the call. Kai has a deep interest in that, and especially, his startup produces a digital cell clone, and then uses reasoning AI, not just pattern matching, to make predictions. And so that I think that's important. There are one or two other life science members. Gavin Raj is another one that's sort of writing an AI interpreter for what your doctor says, to basically converting doctor speak into something that a layperson can understand. When you come away from a doctor visit, and you've got the notes of what they said, and you don't really know what that means. Or you took a sick child into the doctor's office, and you're trying to decode doctor speak. I think that brings it down to earth. And so a lot of these things are important, and it's very important for the AI not to be prone to hallucinations. This would be the worst place where you can have hallucinations. Most people's their scare stories about going onto WebMD and trying to figure out, diagnose themselves. All paths lead to cancer, and so you end up with those scare stories. So I think it's a missing component, and it's really translating one language into another, isn't it? It's a translator, which is what AI does well, but it should do it without the hallucination.
And I think it would be great, Reza, if we can all join together, all the people in the call or in the group that are interested in life sciences, and we have a weekly meeting that is separate from this meeting, so that we can start thinking about projects that we can do together, and then hopefully write papers as well to publish. And I think that would be great. It's funny because last week I was in this Academy of Medicine in Paraguay. So I gave a talk about application of AI in medicine. And one of the doctors had this exact concern that you mentioned. So if a patient now has access to this ChatGPT tool before going to the doctor, he said that I'll be speaking to this patient like for so many hours, just in when the patient comes to my with the doctor, right? Because he will know so much information about the disease, or he will make so many hypotheses that the doctor basically had to counter the patient for every single thing, right? So he was saying, like, we are gonna go crazy with the patient knowing everything or trying to know everything about medicine, right?
Yes, right. Well, Afshin, you're also obviously a strong life science.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to jump in here for one thing. Diego had mentioned this to me too. I think let's see what Riza and Matt think too. Yes, to start the conversation in Slack, but in my other groups, we usually having the weekly meetings with these subgroups really gets the conversation going that Slack can't do in that way. That's what I was telling Deep too. Like, start the conversation, see who's interested, and then whoever wants to lead a group, lead it. Inform it. Say what time can people meet per week, and then you have a private meetings, and everyone. Obviously, I'll do the life sciences because I'll be very interested in that. But I think Deep, you had some interesting thoughts too about things you would want to go, and other people's here. So start it on Slack, I think, as Riza says, and then form your meetings. Have and anyone can join those, right? That are interested. I don't know what you really think, Riza. I think that's how you think we should probably move forward.
Absolutely. I think Diego, maybe you should, if you're on Slack, create a channel, and then invite people. If I see that channel there, I'll definitely join. And then pick a day or have a vote on Slack's got a good voting forum. Vote for which day and what time slot you want to have a weekly meeting, and off you go.
Fantastic. So I'll also write in the general channel to invite people. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. The more the merrier. In fact, it should be a chore of everyone here to bring to send out invites. What I typically do, and what has really been good in the last few weeks is the recordings of these meetings. They go up onto YouTube, and they're also on the website. But we also are taking little sound bites and publishing those. The small sort of 10-second, 20-second sound bites do really well, and they get thousands of hits, and so that is a good way of doing it. What I also find is taking the videos and maybe a sound bite from there and posting that on LinkedIn does really well in terms of spreading the word and getting people interested in coming to join up.
Can I jump in here for one thing to branch off what you're saying, Riza? Is that when you have your subgroups, I think what we did in our other groups is film a video of what the subgroup's about, and then post it on our website, and then on LinkedIn. Then people are like, oh, cool, they have a subgroup of this. They don't just do. You don't have to be a hardcore developer to be part of Kwaai. You could actually have other interests and help out.
Yeah.
So I think every subgroup should record a video of what they do, like a 30-second clip. What is it about, and what they do in Kwaai. It really motivate people, I think, outside of, let's say, developers to even join the group, in my opinion. But yeah, sorry. I think, Sean, you have your hand up.
Actually, let's go to Balaji first, who hasn't had a chance yet.
Thanks, guys. So I just wanted to bring to attention, I recently came across the Azure Cognitive Search. It's kind of a different take on things where you use the generative AI for natural language formatting your queries, but the data itself is an index of whatever you provide, right? So I kind of, to speak to the point of hallucinations, probably it seems like one of the possibilities where you are actually taking user input for search or trying to get something out of your database of documents or what have you, right? But you want to restrict it to only to that content. It seems to be appealing to those kind of queries. So maybe it fits some cases where you have terabytes of data and all you're doing is trying to get material out of it to match certain things, which is probably useful in medical field as well. So I just want to bring that to attention. That's all.
Thanks, Balaji. Sean?
Yeah, I totally agree with Balaji's point, which is to make these things work, given the limited context windows right now of the LLMs, you have to do these kind of, RAG, retrieval automated generation type of things, which cognitive search is doing and Vertex does, and all of the vector DBs do. And so, yes, I feel like it's the only way to deal with large amounts of personal data. The other thing at like a meta conversation piece is, I worked at Marco Polo for 2 years. It's an incredible way to do async intimacy. And we could do the same thing in Slack, which is just people record little audio or video notes back and forth, and you can fast forward them. And then you don't have to dedicate synchronous time, which is, I know, difficult for everybody. And so it might be just worth starting that in one of the Slack channels and encouraging people to speak. And then you do get a sense of who people are and a deeper sense of their personality and make jokes. And you'd be amazed how real it feels, even though you're not there at the same time.
Awesome. Yeah, would love to get that started up. Is that something you want to throw out a Marco?
Yes, I will do that in the architecture discussion group just to begin.
Okay.
Keep it in Slack. I think moving to multiple platforms is difficult at this point. We'll just do it in Slack.
Sounds good. Appreciate you all jumping in there too. And thanks for already posting some stuff in the Pi Architecture Work Group channel there, Sean. Great thoughts from GUI and shit that can go wrong. Great. Anybody else like to speak today? We've got a few folks dropping off. We haven't heard from Ruth. We haven't heard from Pinar.
And we haven't heard from Colin in a while.
Colin.
What's up?
Hello.
Is there anything you want to hear about specifically, or because I can talk about anything?
Anything that you're working on that you want to share for the group?
Yeah, a couple of things actually. I was working on a few internal tools for the personal AI. So some of it's been around some of the stuff that people don't like to talk about, which is kind of why it's kind of like not really a public forum type thing, but kind of like pen testing type things, like figuring out like what would people do that are bad with this kind of thing. So that's really just been the general topic. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Colin, it's worth looking at Sean's tools from GUI AI about the sort of the prep work of reducing down, especially if we're talking about the work for the communications janitor of filtering down conversations and so on. That was the topic on Wednesday that we Cyan was leading, but it's definitely something we have to do.
Cool. Sounds good.
Pinar, do you want to share anything? Oh, hey, Ruth. Saw you come up.
Yeah. The only thing I have to add is that next Thursday, I think my back at College of the Canyons, and we're having a further discussion, a roundtable from our policy and ethics program. We've had one, we try and make it multidisciplinary, talking about how we're using AI and our concerns about it. So I'm speaking at that on Thursday. And the following week, which is quite exciting, they're having a panel of students to see how AI issues are impacting them. One thing that came out of the last panel that I attended with Risa is that students don't want AI teaching their classes. It's like an economic issue. They're saying if I'm paying for a professor's expertise, I don't want that expertise to be passed on to ChatGPT or whatever it might be. So we're going to be digging around in the weeds of that next week.
Interesting. Thank you, Ruth. I was noticing a McKinsey report talking about the teaching profession being one to be disrupted. And this might be an interesting disconnect between kind of what the management consultants in the tech industry thinks versus what the people in the field are experiencing. Got more hand. Sorry, go ahead, Ruth.
Sorry, Cornell University have published a 70-page document that I haven't gone through yet, but I'm going to look at that to see what the impact is for us. It's the same old concerns of student privacy, student security, where that data goes. There are some good things to do with the tutoring that we've talked about, that Ray and I have been talking about for some time. But it's, yeah, interesting times.
Thank you, Ruth. Pinar.
Sorry, I'm in a loud place, but I would just say, like I wrote on the chat document, it would be great to have an Excel sheet. I think we already have one, as Afshin knows, in the AWS group, where in just one line or two, we know who's working on what, so that we can just see the big picture rather than clicking on the LinkedIn profiles and then, scrolling up and down. Because I may be interested in a couple of topics where somebody else is working on, has a startup about, and we can have discussions together. Just a suggestion. Maybe we can just put a shared document and then everybody can just log in and just write down a couple of lines.
Love that, Pinar. And, Afshin, I see you have your hand up as well, but, kind of looking at this around our formal membership agreements and getting folks involved. And when we do send those out, kind of what information should we collect from our members so that we can better organize? No longer had your hand up. Ashish, let's hear from you.
Sorry, I was mute, but yeah, it just loaded. But I was going to say something that Ruth brought up is something we should think about too. Is I've had discussions with my colleagues in the universities. It's the reverse, saying students are worried about that, but the teachers are also worried about our AI being used to generate all the reports and essays the students are writing their stuff. So how do we combat that? That's another current question, because it goes the reverse, because some of my colleagues were like, the guarantee that the students that just generate all their work using ChatGPT. It's like, how do we disprove that? And then it's frustrating for them. But that's another topic that, a subgroup could tackle, or maybe people have ideas how to make.
No, it's a very real topic. And Afshin, in my previous job, we actually made a proposal to the colleges on tackling some of this, and it was it's a complex problem, and in fact, that's what got me alerted to large language models, to even Chat GPT in November of last year, when Ruth said, "Hey, I'm grading these papers, and they look, first of all, they're uncharacteristic of the students' work during the previous part of the course, and it's end of year papers, and they're also very similar tracts of phraseology in there, where did they workshop this, how do you think they plagiarized, and so now there's something else going on." And yeah, it turns out the students are way ahead of the professors in this. They've figured out how to game the system long in advance.
Yeah. So that's an interesting one. It's Ruth. Yeah.
What's the latest, Ruth?
The latest is that we're now trying to develop policy, because it becomes an academic integrity issue. It looks, that story that you just told, Riza, was back in the day when everything in my toolkit was a plagiarism tool, but this isn't quite plagiarism. This is using resources in the same way that students use calculators. They're always going to be ahead of us as educators. And we have to be careful. What's going to happen is there's going to be a lawsuit, I think. Someone's going to be falsely accused. But the other problem is, yeah, we can write by hand. You can do the testing. You check that the objectives have been met by being in class, have people do in-class writing. But what do you do in an online class? And what do you do for students? It's an equity issue as well. We have students who use learning tools, who are in, they need extra learning resources, and sometimes the language models that are used in those sound like generative AI, but they're not. So these are students that have learning provisions made for them, and they haven't used any cheating things, or they haven't used any other resources, but it looks like they have. Students whose first language is not English are at a disadvantage as well, because if they use a translator, it can sometimes sound, it uses those archaic terms, and it sounds mechanical in a way that looks suspicious. So, you know, we've got our work cut out for us.
Ruth, are you still using turnitin.com?
I am, only because it started an AI checker alongside its plagiarism checker. All it is a big database that recognizes what it's seen before. It's not very accurate. And then the educators get frustrated because they've been given tools that aren't very accurate. And it's not that it's making students cheat more. It's not making it easier to cheat, because students have always cheated and students will continue to cheat. So maybe we need to look at that, the reasons why people cheat, or the value in the classes even. Why is someone taking my English class? I don't know. But
great conversation. I want to get to Ashish before we run out of time here. Ashish.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Just a gentle thing that I wanted to also introduce myself, because I did introduce in the first meeting, but just wanted to continue that thing, and I wanted to give some hint of what I'm doing. So my name is Ashish. I'm based out of India, and as of now, I'm working as a senior content designer for an MNC. But I have a vision of creating a platform where I can help people shift their career roles. So someone who is in testing can become a product manager or something, if he wants to go into a mechanical engineering department and do something of that sort. And how we are doing this? We are doing this via career assessments and psychometric DMIT testing. And then this is just an idea that I have in my mind, and I want it to take it forward through different geographies by doing some market research. So I really need your all support to take this idea forward. So this is it that I wanted to share here. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Ashish.
Thank you, Ashish. And yeah, that'd be great too. It sounds like another work group around some of the elements that you were talking around with, certainly what we were just talking about in education, also in human resources and hiring, all topics that will be impacted. Wonderful. It's 57. Riza, why don't you wrap us up today?
Okay. Well, again, happy Friday, everybody. This is the day we end the week on always a happier note. So meeting number 15, fantastic. Thanks for attending. When we think about next year and the year's sort of coming to an end, but as we think about next year, we think about where we'd hold our next summit. Is it going to be warm enough to hold it on the East Coast, or shall we leave that to Q2? A quarterly summit, maybe we hold it around the Scale conference in Pasadena. That's one option. Maybe we get a benevolent enterprise member to host us, maybe up in Seattle. I don't know. I'm on the lookout, and I'd urge you to provide suggestions of where our next summit could be, and maybe let's map out the whole of the next year. So quarterly summits, where could they be? I'm hoping. Yeah, Toby says let's have it around CES. That would be great. January, it's actually not that far away. It's probably only about 5 or 6 weeks of work time left this year. So when you think of half of December is going to be blown, you got the Thanksgiving week largely unproductive. There's not a lot of time to plan for that, and so Toby has an event. Okay, so thank you all for joining. We're coming up to the hour. And have a great weekend. Look forward to seeing you. If I don't see you next Friday, then I'll see you in the week. And see you in the week. I'll see you in the window. Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks all.
Okay. Boom, boom. Great. Okay. So
it's if I don't see you through the week, I'll see you through the window.
I think that was the catchphrase of some vaudeville comedian. I don't know where that comes from. Okay. So we're recording, and Matt, the recording goes to you, doesn't it? I know Joey wasn't.
They do, and I actually want to check with you on this. Don't know what of this Joey is still doing or handling. I've kind of fallen off the recording wagon, but I can get these processed and posted today.
No, well, just send him the link. He will top and tail it, and then he also will cut out sort of sound bites for. I don't know if you've been looking on YouTube. The short clip, sometimes you'll get a Kwaai short clip turning up. They seem to be doing well.
I love that, and thank you for Joey for taking the reins on that one. I'll look at that. The other thing I was looking at, just playing around with today, was throwing our transcripts just through ChatGPT actually, and extracting out some summaries and some thoughts just from those transcripts that we've collected so far.
I think that would be really useful. I think that'd be fantastic. So I don't know if you've looked at the website recently, and
it's still there.
Yeah, the website. But if you go to the events page, you see the list of all the past. All the past public meetings. Scroll down.
Looks like the guy from Silicon Valley.
Yeah, that looks like some sort of.
Okay, great. Yeah, I didn't.
You've got them all there. So if anybody wants to have, go back and see what did we talk about before, we've got the history of everything there, and that's a fantastic archive of these weekly conversations we've had.
Yeah, I can maybe decorate this a little bit too. Put together just kind of some general thoughts here on where we can now reuse the summit page. I hope, and people can kind of link to their different talks.
Yeah, I mean, it might be the thing that one of the speakers was asking for. I can't remember, was it Pinar, asking, how do we know who's working on what? Maybe this is where we have the work groups as a tab up there, and then we have a whole page, and just give a brief summary and maybe a little video presentation of what the work group is doing.
I love that as a next milestone. That'll probably be good for before next Friday. Get a work group page up. We've got the Pi engineering work group to seed that with.
Excellent.
And then in terms of sharing those recordings, how do we want to share the work group recordings? I kind of feel like maybe, do we want to put those on the YouTube channel as well? Do we want to list them on YouTube as private? Do we want to share them only internally in a bucket?
All fantastic questions. I don't know. I think there's part of what you want it to be public. Just sharing the top level milestones or the goals or the purpose of the work group. I think that is public facing. The sort of internal sausage making, the sort of weekly meetings, the work group meetings, probably not public facing. So I think that'd be good. So the purpose of the website is to garner more membership and get people to join up, and I think that's good. I like the sites, the Google Sites platform. You're finding it easy to use. I've given you editorial control of it. And
I'm poking my way around. It's got some limitations. I'm used to Squarespace. Otherwise, Site Builder. But I'm poking around for enough. I know Serge was talking about kind of adopting the brand ambassadorship, so to speak, and getting our website production ready. I would agree. It probably needs a refresh.
It does. I mean, the graphics and the artwork on there are sort of clip art from just what was pulled together on the night of July 14th.
Yeah, we've kind of we've evolved our messaging, I think, a bit. Yeah, Diego, go ahead and jump in. This is free form here.
Yeah, sorry. So software to do a website like this is very cheap here in Paraguay. So if you guys want to outsource, it's like really cheap. I'm serious.
Very good. Okay.
So that's one option. I can ask for some, but I don't know if we have some funding from the group, right? That's one thing. It would be
their donation to Kwaai. That's kind of how it's structured right now with Arcus Nexus.
Right.
Arcus Nexus is making a donation in the form of engineering resources.
Oh, I see. So we already have someone who will do the website.
The website was it's the platform is Google Sites. And it's all drag and drop. It's very limited. It's a no code website development platform. You can do quite a bit on it. I don't think I can get a Shopify store up and running in there. I don't think I can do that, but
no. Well, it's functional enough for I think what we'll need, and then what Eunice and Deep are working on, and what Deep just posted for some feedback in the Slack channel is more of just implementing a CRM on the back end. So we can just do more with both the members and the content that we're producing, sharing it, connecting people, and making sure that, right now it's all manual process of swivel chair tasks from one system to the next. So it should help us tie some of that together. And then once that's tied together, I think we'll have an easier time and understanding of what to do with our website based on, Reese's point there. It's really just our call to action. So people, for example, also been asking for, hey, I need a Kwaai one pager. I need how do I share the message of Kwaai? we really need to look at creating some of that content, the website being a key part.
I see.
Great. Well, we've all got day jobs. Let's carry on. Thanks.
So,
Be safe.
so Risa, I have one last question. Do we have some computational resources to use for some companies that have put that for us to use? Because I'm just anticipating that question in the subgroup.
Yeah, well, we'd appreciate donations. At the moment, it's self-funded. We do have an AWS, a few instances lit up for the purpose of some prototyping, but we don't have a lot of resource. But it's up and running now.
Okay, fantastic. So who should I contact about that? To us, Matt, perhaps Matt? Or...
I'm happy to help wherever I can, Diego. Hit me up in the Slack, and we can take this offline.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you all. Happy Kwaai Day.
Happy Kwaai Day. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.